Hi, welcome to Watch the Time and my initial review of a watch I've had for a little while now. Fully tested it, and that's the Citizen Pro Master Diver. However, as this is a dive watch video, I thought I would just give my take on water resistance or waterproofness or whatever you want to call it, because I still hear well-respected watch channels on YouTube misquoting what the water resistance numbers mean. And I still hear people saying, oh, this watch is only 50 metres water resistant, but who needs to go down more than 50 metres? Well, the rating on a watch is not how deep the watch can go. That's not what that is. It's the figure is based on a static pressure test. So it doesn't mean a 30 metre water resistant watch can go down to 30 metres, because otherwise your average diver, who's either advanced or not an advanced diver, like a beginner diver, would be diving between 12 metres and a maximum of 40 metres. So why would you ever need a watch that went beyond 40 metres unless you're some kind of airy breather? Because the amount of time you can spend below 40 metres if you're diving with a single tank, for instance, is minimal. Just to quickly go through, if a watch said it has 30 metres of water resistant, it cannot go down to 30 metres. It's unlikely that it would last sort of 10 minutes even in a swimming pool. You're sort of pushing your luck. And bear in mind as well that that static pressure test is only done on a very small number of watches in the range. So your watch will not have been tested for water resistance. So to me, 30 metres means it's basically splash proof. So you can splash a little bit of water on, you'll be fine. I wouldn't be dunking it in water. Now I know there will always be people that say, oh, but I've had I've done it myself with a Casio F91W. I think that's 30 metres of water resistant. I've dunked it in water. It's pot luck. So you will have exceptions to the rules. There always is, but this is a generalisation about the majority of watches, and I think Casios are generally a bit better at that anyway. The next rating from 30 is 50 metres of water resistance. Again, I would say you're looking at splash proof, washing your hands underwater, the odd dunking, but again, I wouldn't want to be swimming with it because that movement of water is what will break the seals. So for a watch that I would swim in is a minimum of 100 metres on a regular basis. Yes, if you get caught out and go into some water, with a 50 metres water resistant watch you might be okay, but to be okay for swimming and maybe a little bit of snorkeling, so duck diving, bit of snorkeling, swimming, 100 metres, you should be fine. Then you've got 200 metres, which then you're looking at a lot of the Casio 200 metres. I'd be happy to go diving to 40 metres with those. But again, those watches are not tested individually, and that is only a static pressure. So you're kind of pushing it to the limits a little bit there. Then you get into dive watches like the SKX and things like that are certified divers, which means they've tested that watch, the pressure on that watch. And when they test to say a 200 metre certified diver, they go beyond that. So it's probably tested to 250 metres, and they do all different tests, movement tests and different things. So if you want a watch to go diving in, as in scuba diving, down to your maximum depth for a normal diver, 40 metres, you need a 200 metre certified diver. As I said, I'd be happy with your average G-Shock, which is 200 metres water resistance. Generally they're fine, but you're not got any sort of guarantees with that. So then when you get into these watches that are 300, 600, etc., it all becomes a bit of a nonsense really, and they can just withstand massive pressure tests. Personally, I'd rather have a 200 metre certified diver than a 300 metre water resist watch. I think you're safer with the certified one because your watch has been tested. So that's it. So when I hear people say things like, you don't need to go beyond, who needs to dive beyond 50 metres? It just does annoy me really, because it's so simple to find out this information. You can look it up on Wikipedia and it will tell you what the what's involved with all the ISO certifications as well. It's quite interesting. So that kind of neatly follows on to this watch, which is, and it will say on the dial, a diver's water resist 200 metre. So that's a certified diver's watch. It's been tested. Whether it'd be okay now, I don't know, because I've got this watch second hand in this country we call them like a cash converters shop. So it was a second hand watch. It was on it was actually on a Casio strap, which I've taken it off of, and it's well beaten up. Someone's had a right go at trying to get the case off with a screwdriver, because you can see they've scratched the case. It's got lots of wear on it. It's got, you know, loads of marks on the back. It's got scratches on the face, but something about it just sort of took me instantly. Now I've been looking for a kind of monochromatic watch, and the obvious choice was the SKX. But I'd already had the SKX 009. I've got Pepsi divers, turtle divers, sorry. So I wanted something different, and I saw this, and I was like, something about that, and I absolutely fell in love. So I'm just going to switch the camera around and then go into it, and I'll take you through why I have kind of fallen in love with this watch. And it is currently, if I'm just picking up a watch to wear, this is the one I pick up. So let's get into it. Okay, so as you can see here, we've moved into the forest with this watch, and I'm just going to bring it in close so you can have a good look at it. A few similarities to the SKX obviously, but then it's its own thing. It's really different. You've got the pair of pants at the 12 o'clock position there, this really nice green loom. You've got the crown at the 8 o'clock position. You've got the bezel with the sort of interrupted teeth around it. You've got the lollipop loom pip on the opposite side of the second hand, a bit like the SKX, and then there's a little arrow tip on the second hand there, and you can see that's just a metal second hand. We've got a day date complication, but we still retain a little loom pip to the right of that. We've got a Citizen automatic and their logo, and then divers water resist 200 metres on the dial. So this is a 42mm case. We've got a 20mm lug width, about 47mm lug to lug, and it's about 12.5mm thick. Got a lovely case shape. There you go. Interesting crown, but works absolutely fine. Obviously we've got a screw down crown, we've got a screw down case back, and there's all the details for you. Citizen ProMaster Diver GN4S. There's a serial number there, made in Japan, 200 metres, water resist, stainless steel. There's the reference number for like the movement, etc., and the model number there. Well bashed up the back of this case, but I like it. There's something about it that's really nice. It's really nice to touch. The crown at the 8 o'clock position is not a lefty as some people think. It's actually for comfort, so it doesn't dig into your wrist, and I really like it. I know people say that it's a bit awkward to use if you're used to using it, but if you want to unscrew the crown, just flip the watch over, then you're unscrewing it the same as any. It's popped there. So this hand winds. Excuse my dirty fingernails, I've been working. So it hand winds but doesn't hack, this one. Obviously it's got quick set date and all that, and then you can obviously just screw that crown back in normally. Obviously when you set the time, make sure you do it the right way up, and then away you go. The bezel action is okay. I think it's a 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's a 60 click. It's not a great action, but it's okay. It doesn't quite line up, but I could pop the bezel off and have a little look and see if I can get that lined up, but it doesn't quite line up. But to be honest, it really doesn't bother me. If you hold it at an angle, it looks like it's lined up anyway. But the chapter ring all lines up, etc. inside. So, you know, all in all, it's okay. I've got it on this just green strap because it's kind of a military-esque look to it. I believe this watch was used by the Italian Navy, I think it was. But, so, you know, it's got a lot of horological significance as well. But it's none of that's really, it's not what it's about. To me, it's, and I don't know if this is where it's been sort of abused. I mean, all I've done is clean it, and it, you know, it's come up quite nicely. But it's been well used. But it's really tactile, and it's legible. The loom, I'll put a loom shot up here, is just about as close to SKX, just about as close to Seiko loom as you can get without being Seiko loom. It's not quite as good, but it's kind of 95% there, so fantastic loom, lasts well through the night, really legible. You can at a glance quickly see which way up it is. I know the loom pip on the second hand is opposite, but you know, when has that ever been a problem for anyone? So we've got a super legible, divers certified, water resistant watch. We've got just a bit of hardlex, not hardlex, a bit of mineral crystal there, no sapphire or anything like that. And this one has got a few scratches in. Sometimes you can see them, sometimes you can't. It's just as it catches the light. But again, I think this watch has been through quite a lot, and it's well bashed up, but I love it, absolutely love it. It's so comfortable to wear. It's got that lovely case shape. You know, it's a fantastic little watch. I've got no real issues with it. Now I've tested this twice because the first result baffled me a little bit, and it came out as 0.0 seconds per day on my sort of watch checking app. And I thought, wow, that's a bit weird. So I did it again, and bear in mind this is only one of those apps where as the second hand goes past 12 o'clock position, you press the button on your app, and then you check it sort of 12, 24 hours, however long later, and it will tell you how many seconds per day it is out. Now, the second time I done this, it came out as -2 seconds per day, and you know, I think we're in Rolex territory there. I think these I've not taken the back off because I've got no need to of this one, but I think it's like a Miyota movement, if I'm not mistaken. So nothing special, just be a Japanese Miyota movement. I say it's got hand winding but no hacking, and this one's running absolutely perfectly. And yeah, I'm going to pop it on the wrist. And I've said this before, whilst this sounds like a big watch, you know, over 40mm case, it really doesn't wear like a big watch, and it's just, I don't know, there's something about it. I can't put my finger on what it is, but after wearing this watch, it's a bit like the Vostok, in that it's in that kind of league, in that it's not an expensive watch. This one cost me £100 second hand. You can get in really good condition for about 150. I think you can still buy them new, I'm not sure, and I've seen them with the crown on the right, the left, the top, all over the bloody place. But for me, for 100 quid, this is one of my favourite watches at the moment now. And it's just a 10 quid strap I've put on there, a nice strap, again got that military feel to it, and the green matches the green on the loom, and I just think it works perfectly. It's lightweight, it's comfortable, it's accurate, it's got a date, it's legible, it's kind of everything you want in a watch. Why have I got 20 odd other watches? Makes you wonder sometimes, doesn't it? But it is an adorable little watch, and you can pick them up for, I say, not a lot of money. So thanks for watching. Watch the time. Please like my videos, subscribe to my channel. I've got at least 65, 70 videos of watches. I've got loads of watch reviews coming up. I've got what have I got coming up? My little Victorinox. I've got a couple of little field watches from Seiko. I've got Presage Cocktail Time, that's coming up soon. I've got a Flighty. I've got the Seiko Flighty coming soon. So that one's going to be a future review. So yeah, tons of stuff coming up. So subscribe not to miss out, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, bye.